Scooby-Doo! It's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today we're going to be looking at the Super TAKUMAR 1.450 Asaya Optical Company lens made in Japan. This is real old school, all metal. Doesn't even have a rubber ring for the focus ring. It's all metal. It's from the 60s or something. So today is December 22nd, 2024. I just got back from the park and it was like 12 degrees Fahrenheit out, which is divide by 2 and subtract 32. So that's like 6. It's like minus, I don't know, minus something Celsius, which is scary. But it worked. The lens and camera worked. It was so cold I couldn't take my usual walk. I had to truncate the walk because it was so cold. There wasn't a breath of breeze, but it was just 12 degrees. It's brutal. So instead of walking around the edge of the lake and coming to the what they call the wing dam, I just walked down to where the reeds were and where the pyramid is, and took some pictures and then scooted back. But it performed admirably. I brought an extra battery, but I didn't need it. So this lens goes from 1.4 to f16. The usual is it focuses down to 0.45 meters. I had a lens hood on it. I bought this lens. It was a little bit pricey considering its age, but it was supposed to be a classic. There is a non-radioactive version, has 8 elements, and they say that Asaya Optical Company lost money on every one they sold, so they redesigned it with 2 versions with 7 elements. One was non-radioactive and one is radioactive. And you may say, oh, boomer, how radioactive is it? Well, let's see. If this pin gets engaged or depressed on this lip here, if your adapter has this lip, then that negates this AM switch. Just to let you know, it's if this pin engages that lip, then it's the stop-down metering. If everything. If you want to get a brighter image, you got to change the aperture. But we're looking at the radioactivity. Yeah, that's pretty radioactive. Got us a reg warning already. 264. 275. Oh, wait a minute, that's 2,259. Oh my God. When I bought this lens, it was yellow, and that's what happens. There's thorium in the glass, and the thorium, or something, the thorium, the radioactive effect makes this lens turn yellow. But you can see it doesn't look very yellow because a couple days ago I juiced it up with ultraviolet light. I bought one of those fluorescent curlicue tubes, and I stuck it like right here. I left it there for a day, and it cleared up any residual yellow. Now, when I first checked this, it was radioactive, but not that radioactive. But after you give it the ultraviolet treatment, it becomes super radioactive. Look at it. I'm not even that close, and it's like freaking out already. So it's super radioactive. Let's shut this bad boy off. All right. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to put this back on the camera. But of course, I'm not going to leave it on this camera. I'm going to just put it in its special cardboard box, a plastic box, so it's separate from everything else. So it was 12 degrees out. It's a bright sunny day. It was when there was snow on the ground. We had like 4 or 5 inches of snow 2 days ago. The park was closed yesterday because I wanted to go yesterday, but the gate was closed. I couldn't go in. So the gate was open, like I said, 2:30, 12 degrees. I walked around, took a bunch of pictures at f8 and ISO 100. Later on in the day, I went up to 400, and I did shoot 1 or 2 pictures at f5.6. And you'll see that in the slideshow following. So I live next to this park. It's 1,000 acres. It's a nice park. It's pretty big. People could go hunting there, but I'm not a hunter. If I shoot anything, I shoot photos. That's just the way I roll. So even though I go there a lot, it does change. You know, with your snow, there's not snow. In the summer, it's green. In the fall, it's colorful. In the winter, it's either brown or white. And then spring comes and it gets colorful again. I don't go much in the summer anymore because it gets too crowded and there's a lot of bugs there. I was there today. I actually saw 3 people. 2 people, a couple and a dog. I seen them from a couple hundred feet away. I actually walked past another fella, and then or drove past him, and then one guy had his dog, and that was it. So since it's the 22nd, I'm sure a lot of people are still doing last minute Christmas shopping and all that stuff. So it was pretty good to be, if you like desolation and solitude and all that good stuff, which I do. And this is a fine lens, super fine lens. Looks like it's got some things there, but they look very minor, this surface cosmetic damage. It's an excellent lens. It's snapped into focus at f8. You can see, bite, you're right into focus. You know, some lenses you stop down at f8, they're a little mushy, you know, but this thing snapped right into focus. And I really like that. And its radioactivity notwithstanding, it takes great pictures. Of course, you know, that's up to you if you think radioactive material is dangerous. You want to stay away from it. The lenses are clean. It's got just some normal wear, I guess. The older Pentax lens had this non-durable black. I don't know if it's paint or enamel or something, but it's not very durable. A lot of them just seem to be worn, or they chips easy or something. I'm going to take this off for now. There we go. The hell with that. So this is an excellent camera. It worked down to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't have to change the battery, although I did see the battery getting weaker and weaker. So why do I have so many f1.4 lenses? Well, when I was a young man, back in the 70s, this is an old lens back in the 70s, right? Because it came out in the 60s, it had to be 10 years old. I had techno-lust. I read the modern photography and popular photography, and I read the articles, and I just wanted to get these lenses, fast lenses, low light level, astronomy, stuff like that. But of course, even if this lens cost $100 in 1977, that's almost like $1,000 today. It was big bucks. And if you're working in a factory making $5.50 an hour, well, it ain't gonna happen. But in the 80s, the late 80s, these things became very cheap as more modern lenses came out. Automatic diaphragm, wide open metering, and these were starting to fall by the wayside. And certainly by the time autofocus kicked in, people were dumping these in droves. So finally here in 2024, the end of 2024, you could pick one of these up. Well, this is like over $200. I think it's $250. But the reviews say it's an outstanding lens, and I think it really is. And of course, I used a lens hood that helps a lot. But look at a modern lens. A modern lens costs $1,000, right? Of course, they're mostly zooms and stuff. So if I bought 5 f1.4s from the vintage era, and I paid an average of $100 each, I'm still cost less than one modern lens. Although I do have some modern lenses, but I just wanted to see what it was all about. You know, like I read all the reports back in the day: Canon, Nikon, Pentax, the others, those other guys, and imagine if you were somewhat interested in getting a lens like this, a 50mm f1.4. And, well, I have made a series of videos of similar subjects: the park and some town, under bright lights and under low lights. And then all you have to do is watch a couple of 15-minute videos and then decide, gee, I like this one. Maybe it's the aesthetics. You like the way this one looks, all retro with no rubber on it. Maybe you like the new modern types that have rubber rings. And, you know, it's less, cold or whatever, hot to your fingers when you touch it. Although the focusing ring is buttery smooth, everything works fine after, it's 10 years younger than I am. So let's put it that way. That's scary. And what have I concluded? I'm a Canon guy. I've been a Canon guy all my life. I concluded that all these 50mm f1.4s are almost identical. Very minor differences. When we stop down to f22, they all focus the same closeness. They all have fine performance at f8 or f5.6 even. And they're very usable, all very usable at f1.4. And f1.4 is very challenging. I said that again. I said it before and I said it again now. That it takes some skill to get a good picture at f1.4 because of its shallow depth of field. It's good if you want to isolate something from the background. Although the bokeh at f1.4 is pretty weird looking, but you stop down to f8 and it all gets creamy, beautiful, smooth, film-like. That's what I call it. If you want to take extended subjects, well, your subject all has to be at the same distance. Like if you're across the street and you want to take a picture of a storefront or a sign or something, then you're good to go. But if there are things that are different focal planes or different distances, everything's going to look funky and out of focus because there's shallow depth of field. But barring that, it's a challenge. You're going to have to figure it out yourself how to use a lens like this at f1.4. This is a good lens. I really like it. I think it was worth the bucks, and it's sort of like a collector's item, I would suppose. But let's look at some photos, shall we? And then you'll know for sure what to think about it. Oh, and that's another thing. The person could take 3 pictures and say, this is a great lens based on 3 pictures. Well, I went to the park and I took more than 3 pictures. Some of them you don't see because I didn't focus right. Maybe it was overexposed or underexposed, or technically they weren't adequate. Some of the pictures, they might be very picturesque and say, oh, that was nice pictures. Others are just reference pictures, to show you an overview and to pick a corner and say it's sharp in a corner. Although these are all crop sensors. And that's the thing. If you have a full frame mirrorless, slap it on, no problem. You're good to go. So that's just the what I'm doing right now. And just think, you watch a 15-minute video, look at some pictures, and then you could decide whether you want to get this or not. So let's just look at the pictures, and then you could decide yourself. It had just snowed, and it was brutal cold, like 12 degrees Fahrenheit. So I went to the park. But first I took some pictures in my front yard. These are in my front yard, believe it or not. And this is a radioactive Super TAKUMAR 50mm f1.4. I think it did an admirable job. Stopped down to f8, without a doubt. Oh, look at these mulberries. Yeah, that's decent, isn't it? That's nice. Across the street, a little bee view. Oh, snow is trippy. Is it, when you don't have to do anything. Now I'm at the park. Here's the gate latch. See how long that's going to be there. Took these pictures because it looks like Mars polar ice cap. Definitely. Mars polar ice cap. And then I walked through the park. It was late in the afternoon. Oh, at the end of December, late in the afternoon is, 3 o'clock. And there's shadows everywhere. And the snow was on the boulders. And it rounded everything out. And I got some views of that I usually don't get. And everything looks different with snow on it. About 4 or 5 inches. It was deeper in some spots. And yeah, the sun was low. It was like 3 o'clock. Everything looked low. And when it was looking at the front, it looked bright. Yeah, look at these people. Here's some people. How about that? They had to be 100 feet away. That's interesting to see what it does. Here's my pyramid, right? It's only 200 years old. It's not 2,000 years old, but you got to take what you could get. Here's the stream. We had some water. It was really warm, and it rained a lot, and the creeks are flowing. And Well, it's good to see instead of being dry. Animals, how do animals live when it's 18 degrees out and uh, 5 inches of snow? I feel sorry for them. Yeah, all these reeds got beat down, and there's just a couple stragglers left. Is that a drone or a plane? That's a one-to-one crop. Yeah, snow in all its shapes and forms and shadows, and it's translucent. Yeah, translucent. Here's some leftover reeds, and here's now the you got ice. Ice comes at water in cold weather. I love ice. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, this is boulders covered with ice. Boulders covered with icicles, skirts. Here's the bridge. Oh, you see there's some flare there? Yeah, and I was using a lens hood too. So that was, it must be a flare beast without a lens hood, I'll tell you that. Oh, ice is so cool. Here's the sign, the Sussex County sign. That's a one-to-one crop. Here's another shot of the pyramid. It's actually an iron furnace. Here's some derelict walls that were built 200 years ago. And it's all falling to rack and ruin. They're not preserving anything. I don't know why. I guess they want to cover it up or something. So, the snow, oh, I'm shooting into the sun, but it's partially blocked by those trees, and that came out pretty good. And then, there's these boulders all around. It's cool stuff. I really like it. It's an interesting lens. If you could pick one up cheap and you don't mind it being radioactive, you should go get one. I can recommend this lens. I mean, it has its faults, but it has its good points too.